A few disclaimers before I start the video. Firstly, I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice, so don't listen to anything that I'm saying. Secondly, blood work can be dependent on genetics. As you will see, I have some things genetically predisposed, so if you just copied what I did, you can't expect the same results. You would maybe die, or maybe nothing would happen. So don't copy what I did. And thirdly, in this video, I will break down the differences in my blood work when I was natural and now on TREN. So let's get right into it. On the left, we have my blood work from 18th January when I was fully natural, 100% natural. And on the right, we have my blood work from like 2-3 days ago after half a year of testosterone and 1 month of trembolone. And I will compare it now and show you how I have better blood work on steroids compared to when I was natural. So let's get right into it. This video could be like 20-30 minutes long. I will try to explain everything in simple terms so you can understand it without needing to understand any medical terms or anything like that. I will tell you which blood markers are important and crucial to look out for and which ones are completely useless and you should completely ignore them. So the first thing that we will look at here is hematocrit. Hematocrit is basically how thick your blood is. Is it like normal thickness or it's like syrup and very thick? So here we can see that before I started anything, my hematocrit was 45. And on steroids, it's 48, which is amazing because for some people that have a genetic predisposition for thick blood, hematocrit can climb up to 52, 54, 56, which increases the risk for heart attack because the thicker the blood, the higher the chances for blood clots, and also the heart struggles more, so also the heart could grow. When people say heart can grow from steroids, usually they mean when the blood is really thick and the heart is struggling, and also thick blood could damage the kidneys. So for me, hematocrit is perfect, it's amazing, so that's the first thing. Like, if you look at this, that's the most important blood marker regarding the heart, and my heart is fine. So my heart is not struggling, I'm not damaging it, I'm not growing it. The other blood markers here are not as important, but as you can see, most of them are in range. Platelet count just means that my blood could clot quicker if I was bleeding, but as long as it's under 800,000, it's not dangerous. So that's fine. Next, we will get into the cholesterol and fasting blood sugar and triglycerides. And here you can see that my blood sugar stayed exactly the same when I was natural and now on steroids, even though I'm eating more carbs and more sugar now. But now when I'm eating more carbs and more sugar, thanks to the steroids, all of those are going straight to the muscle. So I'm not gonna get any kind of insulin resistance or diabetes from eating sugar and bullshit, because all of that sugar is going straight into my muscle for the workouts, which is amazing. I'm definitely eating far more carbs and far more sugar compared to when I was natural, and the blood sugar stayed the same, which is great. The next thing here is cholesterol. My cholesterol was not that good to begin with, which I'm guessing is genetic because my diet was not bad. My diet was actually pretty good, but my HDL was slightly low and my LDL was slightly high. Triglycerides were good. If we compare this to now on steroids, my triglycerides are better. My HDL is lower. You can't really do that much about this because most of the steroids will destroy some hepatic lipase enzyme, and this will lower your HDL. You can't do much about this. There is not a single person who can keep HDL in range while on TREN. It's impossible. But luckily, low HDL is not dangerous in any way. Like, even if it was 0, it would probably be fine. Low HDL is not really that important. But if you look at my LDL actually dropped compared to when I was natural, which is almost unseen because usually LDL skyrockets when you take steroids. But I have so many supplements to counter this that I will break down in a different video where I show you my full supplement stack. But some of the supplements that helped with my LDL the most is red yeast rice. So this is a natural supplement that acts in a very similar way to statins, which is a medication for lowering LDL cholesterol. I also have citrus bergamot, one of the best supplements for lowering LDL and increasing HDL. I also have cardarine. Cardarine can increase HDL and lower LDL. And fish oil, omega-3 in very high dose, can help with cholesterol as well. So if you look at this overall, my cholesterol is actually better on steroids compared to natural, which is almost unseen because steroids are supposed to completely destroy your cholesterol by lowering your HDL a lot and increasing your LDL a lot. But for me, it stayed fairly similar. My overall cholesterol went down and it's pretty much fine. But now we are getting to the more important marker here, which is ApoB, apolipoprotein B. Why is this important? Because cholesterol numbers can often be misleading. If you are eating a lot of eggs, a lot of meat, your LDL could be high, but that does not mean that you are at a high risk for any cardiovascular disease. That's pure bullshit and propaganda. And the important marker here that we need to look at is ApoB, which actually shows the number of the risky particles that can cause the plaque buildup in arteries. And for me, ApoB is completely normal in range, like in the middle of the reference range, which on steroids is amazing. Like even if I was natural, this is a great number, but on steroids especially, this is amazing. Because my diet is not clean. I'm still eating fatty food. I'm still eating a lot of like bullshit and sugar and sweets. So having this number be in the middle of the reference range on TREN and eating bullshit is actually very impressive and shows that my supplement stack is doing the heavy lifting here. I didn't test ApoB before because I did not know about that marker, but if I had to guess, I think it's better now than when I was natural. Because if you look at the overall cholesterol and we see that it went down and triglycerides went down, I'm guessing that ApoB also went down, which is great. And this means that I'm not at any risk of building up plaque in my arteries or anything like that. So that's perfect. Now we will get onto the kidney markers. And here I need to explain a really important thing. So if you are going to the gym, you are building muscle. Like as you can see, like I have a lot of muscle in my frame. In that case, and also if you are eating a lot of protein, if you are taking creatine, your creatinine could be high. For me, it's not high, but it's on the higher end. And sometimes if you calculate the eGFR using the creatinine, eGFR is like estimated filtration rate of your kidneys. How much your kidneys are actually working, like up to 100%, are they working at 80% capacity, 60% capacity, whatever. But calculating the eGFR with creatinine is useless if you are going to the gym, because just doing a workout, you will break down some muscle, that muscle will be processed by the kidneys, and then creatinine can be high. So it's completely useless and does not mean that your kidneys are damaged in any way. It could be elevated from just high protein diet, going to the gym, taking creatine, whatever. So creatinine is a pretty useless marker if you are going to the gym and have a similar lifestyle to me. What we need to look at is cystatin C. So let me see if that's under that. Yeah. So we need to look at cystatin C. Cystatin C is the best marker for kidneys that shows the actual situation with the kidneys. Like, are they damaged? What is the actual filtration rate? And for me, cystatin C is basically maxed out. Like here, the higher the number, the better. And the range goes from 0.61 to 0.95. And mine is 0.94. So my kidneys are basically perfect, like 99% perfect on TREN. And TREN is said to be like kidney toxic or whatever. And this proves that that's complete bullshit. So I don't even drink that much water. People are saying like, oh, if you take steroids, you need to drink 5 liters of water a day. That's complete bullshit. I don't drink almost any water. I just drink like Coke Zero, protein shakes, protein chocolate milks. I drink barely any water. I only drink when I'm thirsty. I don't drink 2 liters of water a day. And my cystatin C is basically perfect. My kidneys are basically perfect. So I don't have this measured when I was natural. I would guess that it's the same because I didn't really change anything regarding my kidneys. I don't have any supplements for the kidneys. So if I had to guess, my cystatin C before was about the same as now, which is perfect. Like basically my kidneys are perfect and this is amazing. This proves that TREN at a low dose that I'm taking is not kidney toxic. Maybe it is at a higher dose, whatever. But at this dose, my kidneys are doing amazing. There is no damage to the kidneys, which is important because kidneys are one of the rare organs in your body that can't recover. So if you damage the kidneys once, you are basically fucked. Because if you damage the liver can regenerate pretty well. But if you damage the kidneys, you've damaged them. So this is really amazing to see that I'm not damaging the kidneys. Now we will look at the liver. So since I'm not taking any oral steroids, the liver should be fine regardless, but we will look into that now. So my liver enzymes before were normal, like 23, 13 should be less than 50. That's completely normal. That's fine. But AST, ALT are useless if you are going to the gym. So you should completely ignore AST, ALT if you are going to the gym, because just doing a hard workout the day before could elevate AST, ALT, because liver will be processing some of the waste from the muscles when you break them down during a hard workout. So you can completely ignore AST, ALT, and you need to measure gamma GT. Gamma GT is the liver marker, the best liver marker for showing the actual situation of your liver, if there is any stress on the liver, if the liver is damaged, if the liver is struggling. Gamma GT is the best marker to measure that, because gamma GT is not going to get elevated if you just did a hard workout or something like that. So if you look at gamma GT here, my gamma GT is 12, which is basically as low as it can go, which is amazing. That means there is zero stress on my liver, which is not that surprising because I'm not taking any oral steroids or anything like that that would damage the liver. People would say that TREN is liver toxic. This proves it's not. So that's amazing. Generally, steroids that are injectable are not liver toxic, like even TREN. TREN is generally like considered very toxic, but even TREN, as you can see, is not damaging the liver, not damaging the kidneys, not damaging the heart, which is amazing. The only thing that we can't measure here that the TREN could be damaging, and probably is the brain. TREN is neurotoxic, and we can't really measure that. So let's focus on the blood work. And regarding the liver, that's amazing. You should always measure gamma GT, especially if you are running orals. So if you are taking Anavar or something like that, you need to be measuring gamma GT to see if your liver is struggling and how long the cycle can be with what doses. Because if you are like running it for very long or very high doses, Anavar is like kind of mild, but you could still overdo it. You could still damage your liver long term. So it's important that you look at gamma GT. My liver is incredible. Like I'm taking TREN, the most toxic steroid that you can take after Supergel, and my liver is better than probably 99% of people my age because they drink alcohol, and alcohol will damage the liver more than TREN or any steroid that I'm taking. So that's amazing. Now we will see here. I also measured my electrolytes, and as you can see, electrolytes are fine, but rarely is that any electrolytes is out of range, so we can ignore that. Now we will get to the fun part, which is the hormones. So when I was natural in January, here is the hormone panel. So most of the hormones like we can ignore, but the important part that made me actually start taking stuff is my LH was almost high. It was 7, range goes up to 8. So my LH was high. That's the signal from the brain to the balls to produce testosterone. So my brain was telling my balls to produce a lot of testosterone, and usually if you see LH that's this high, you would expect high testosterone as well. But my testosterone was only 470 nanograms per deciliter, which is pretty unfortunate. So as you can see here, 470 range is, it doesn't put the range here for some reason, but the range is from like 250 to like 800. And that's the middle, like that's global average for all men. That also includes fat men, that includes men that are like 40, 50 years old, that are smoking, that have a beer belly, that are like drinking alcohol. So that includes all men. And as a 19-year-old guy at the time, that's pretty devastating. So after 5-6 years of going to the gym, having a healthy diet, sleeping 9 hours a day, not drinking, not having any bad habits like that, after all of that I did, as well as low stress and pretty much all the test maxing that you can do to increase your testosterone naturally, my result was 470, which is pretty devastating. Because if I was a fat ass 40-year-old man, then whatever, that's fine. But as a 19-year-old who did everything to max out his testosterone that he can, getting a result that's average of all men is pretty devastating. So that's what made me hop on, because the brain signal is there. High LH, like my brain is telling the balls to produce it. The balls don't want to produce it. You don't want to produce it, I will go to the pharmacy and I will buy it. Pretty simple. I'm not like arguing with anyone. It's just like the balls don't want to make it. I go to the pharmacy. It costs $6 and I just buy it. We can see here the only thing that's out of range is prolactin, that was slightly high, but it could be a false high because of two reasons. One is I was slightly sleep deprived, which can increase the prolactin. I also had sex the day before, which can also increase prolactin. And thirdly, I didn't drink any water before measuring, and the nurse that had to take my blood couldn't take it for like 3 times. And I really got stressed out because, like, imagine someone is like dry poking you, like poking you with a needle like 5 times, and she can't draw the blood. Like, she's trying, but she's just like pulling nothing. So it was really, really stressful. I almost fainted because I'm not a fan of needles anyway. Like, people think like I love needles because I take steroids. That's bullshit. Like, nobody likes needles. and she was just dry poking my arm. Like, I got really stressed out. I almost fainted. So I'm guessing that it could be a false high from all that like stress, because prolactin is a stress hormone. So I would guess that it's not a big deal, because I also added P5P supplement in my protocol, 200 milligrams a day, to lower P5P, to lower the prolactin. This time I did not measure prolactin because I slept 2 hours before doing this blood work. Because on TREN it's almost impossible to sleep. So I slept 2 hours before doing this blood work, the second blood work, and I didn't measure prolactin because it would probably be high from just not sleeping. And let's see the other things. Yeah, my testosterone was like, my SHBG was like middle of the range, like whatever, 32. Free testosterone, nothing special, like middle of the range. And that's what basically made me hop on. So before we get on to my hormones now, as you can already see them on the screen, we should go to the other stuff now. Like, the urine stuff was pretty normal, but what's interesting about this blood work is my blood pressure. So when I was natural, my blood pressure that I measured there was 149 by 78, which is pretty high. I would think that it would be lower than this if I just drank some water, but yeah, like it was not a good place to start taking here. But as you will see now, on my current blood work, my blood pressure was 119 by 72. So my blood pressure went down by like 30 points on TREN, which is incredible. That's just unseen. That's insane. And I'm not taking any blood pressure meds. I'm not taking telmisartan. I'm not taking any beta blockers. I'm not doing any of that shit, because I'm a huge believer of influencing your blood pressure through electrolyte balance, estrogen balance, your like supplements like fish oil, omega-3, Cialis. Like, I'm a huge believer to just influence your blood pressure through those things and not use any blood pressure meds, because telmisartan is just going to force your kidneys to get rid of sodium and hold potassium. But you can do that through your diet. Like, you can just eat less sodium and intake more potassium. Like, you don't need the medication to do something that you can do yourself. Like, I just replaced my salt with potassium salt. Like, you don't really need to take the medication to hold on to potassium for your kidneys when you can just not eat sodium and eat more potassium. It's pretty simple. So I will be explaining that more in my video of showing my full supplement stack, so you can see like what exactly am I doing to like keep my health perfect, 10 out of 10, while taking TREN, which is incredible. Obviously, I'm not taking high doses, but nobody should be taking high doses. Like, this just proves that if you do it the smart way, you will get results and you won't destroy your health. So let's move on to the hormones right now. I can even like minimize this a little bit, because we went through everything regarding the natural blood work. I think we went through everything here. Let's see. So here, if we go back to the hormones, it's really fun. So first thing is estrogen, that I have to give you a huge disclaimer here. So unfortunately, this result is not accurate, because this lab, as you can see here, this type of test is ECLIA, which is not the LCMS ultrasensitive. So this normal test for estrogen, this cheap test for estrogen, can't differentiate estrogen and trenbolone metabolites. So trenbolone is also included in this result. That's why it's so high. Like, if I actually had estrogen this high, I would probably be crying right now. I would probably have like a moon face and like look like a Michelin man or something, and probably high blood pressure as well. So this is a false high, because this lab does not test the ultrasensitive estrogen that only can like differentiate the estradiol from the other stuff. This test can't do that, and unfortunately we got a false result for that. So if I had to guess where my estrogen is, I would guess that it is on the higher end. It's probably like 50 or 60. That's my guess, because I do occasionally get like the night sweat or some emotion that I wouldn't get before. But I'm letting the estrogen be slightly high on purpose, because estrogen is extremely important. It's neuroprotective, it's good for your brain, it's important for your heart, it's very cardioprotective. That's one of the reasons why women live longer than men. It's the estrogen, which is protective to their heart. Also, estrogen is insanely important for the bones and for the connective tissue. That's why women in menopause often get injured and like break bones, because their bones start getting really weak when their estrogen drops to basically zero. So women in menopause, their estrogen drops basically to zero compared to before. And estrogen has like so many benefits. It's also lipid protective. Like estrogen is keeping my HDL to be 30 instead of 10 or 20. So estrogen has so many benefits, like even for injury prevention, because now when my estrogen is slightly high compared to when I was natural and estrogen was normal, now I have much less shoulder pain and pain in my tendons when I'm working out compared to when I was natural, which is really important for injury prevention. So definitely don't crush your estrogen. Keep it slightly high if you can, and just avoid, like, don't let it get so high that you get like gyno or something like that, but keep it slightly high. Don't crush it. If you put your estrogen to like 20 just for fun, your shoulders could hurt, your knees could hurt. Like, it's just not worth crushing your estrogen to just like have a smaller number or something. Now we got testosterone. The testosterone result is 2,935, which is pretty insane. The free testosterone is even more insane because my SHBG is crushed. So the SHBG being this crushed just proves that TREN is real, because this would not happen on just testosterone. Like, TREN destroys SHBG. It completely ruins it. Similar to some oral steroids. Like, even if you take Anavar, it could lower your SHBG drastically, but TREN is probably like the strongest regarding that. And as you can see, my SHBG is single digit. So my SHBG went from 32 naturally to 7 on steroids, which just skyrocketed my free testosterone from, let's see, what was my free testosterone before was 9.4, and now it's 109. So my free testosterone went up 11 times, which is insane. It's incredible. That explains why I feel incredible. Strength is going up, muscle mass is going up, libido is insatiable, and I just feel amazing all the time. I feel amazing 24/7, and the problem with that is I struggle to sleep because I just feel supercharged all the time. I don't feel tired when I have to sleep. So let's see the other stuff. Bioavailable testosterone, not sure what that really means, but that's also really high, which is great. And as you can see, if you just ignore the estrogen because it's a false high from the TREN, because they don't have the LCMS testing method, this is pretty incredible. So now you would maybe ask, how do I have such high testosterone with only 350 milligrams a week? Because usually people with that dose would maybe get to 2000 or 2500. So the main thing is that I'm taking finasteride to lower my DHT. And the finasteride is blocking the conversion from testosterone to dihydrotestosterone by like maybe 70%, which is giving me more testosterone and less DHT. So I'm keeping my hair, as you can see, like I'm not going bald, which is amazing. And also my skin is not going to look older. Like, as you can see, my skin looks like pretty good. Like, I don't have any kind of like acne or any shit like that because I'm keeping my DHT normal, and that's also giving me more testosterone compared to if it was actually converting. And also taking the aromasin to control my estrogen. Less testosterone is going to estrogen, so more of it is staying as testosterone. So that's why. And I think it's a pretty normal result. Like, you could probably expect similar level if you did exactly what I did, like 350 milligrams testosterone a week and taking finasteride and aromasin. Like, you would probably have very similar testosterone result. Then, but the free testosterone, like, you definitely do need something else to have SHBG so low. But it's not, like, if you ask me personally, maybe this is even too low, because when the SHBG is too low, your body clears out the androgens too fast. Like, it's very possible that I'm just like pissing out my testosterone faster than I would, and it's having shorter half-life than it would if my SHBG was a little bit higher. Because SHBG is not the enemy. Like, people think SHBG is the enemy because it's like, it's lowering your free testosterone or some shit. But SHBG is just like a vehicle that's driving your testosterone to the receptor. Like, SHBG is just holding the testosterone in your blood before it gets used in the muscle, before it goes to the muscle to bind to the androgen receptor. So there is really no reason to hate SHBG and to be like, oh, I need to crush my SHBG or something like that. Because if you just crush it, there is nothing to hold the testosterone. There is all that free testosterone floating in the blood that you can't use because the number of receptors is like, it's slightly limited. Like, there is a point after which having extra free testosterone is not giving you any benefit. It could just give you more side effects. So if you ask me personally, SHBG is maybe even slightly too low, but it's fine, whatever. I can flex that my free testosterone is 109. So that's pretty much it regarding the hormones here. Also, one thing to note regarding the electrolytes is that my magnesium is almost high, which is amazing. Like, you want to keep your magnesium high because that's going to help you with the blood pressure. The magnesium relaxes. So regarding the electrolytes, you want to keep potassium and magnesium higher than sodium and calcium. I will be explaining the exact ratios in a different video, because potassium and magnesium will help your blood vessels relax. It will help your muscles relax compared to being tense, because sodium and calcium are used for the muscle contraction and magnesium and potassium are used for relaxation. So on testosterone, you are like supercharged and like hyped. So you want to have more potassium and magnesium to keep you more relaxed, to like balance it out and to lower your blood pressure. Like just increasing your potassium and lowering your sodium, even if you are natural, can lower your blood pressure by 20 points, like more than medication. Like people are just so stupid. Like I see this in Asia all the time. Like people have high blood pressure in Asia just because all of their sauces, like soy sauce and fish sauce, it has so much salt, it has so much sodium inside, and like they just like take the food, they put so much sauce on it, and that sauce is just pure sodium, it's like pure salt, and they don't have any like magnesium or potassium in their diet to like balance it out. So they just like all of them, like maybe you know how Asian people, like they have like faces that are like a ball, like just like round, because of all that water retention that they have from all the sodium. So if you ask me, it's stupid to take blood pressure medication or to worry about blood pressure when you can just lower your sodium and increase your potassium, and it's gonna balance it out. Because when you hold on to water from extra sodium, just stop eating sodium. Don't completely stop it, you need sodium to live, but just increase your potassium and you will be fine. Let me see if I missed anything in the blood work. I think we covered everything important. So if you ask me which blood markers here are the most important that you need to test for if you want to take gear or whatever, hematocrit is number one regarding the heart. The second I would say is ApoB, apolipoprotein B. Triglycerides are pretty important, but generally if you are not fat, it's gonna be fine. Like if you are fat, they could be high, but if you are not fat, if you are like me going to the gym, it's gonna be fine. I have never met someone that's going to the gym and has high triglycerides. It's almost impossible. I'm not even doing cardio. Like maybe someone thinks like I'm running on the treadmill or something. I never do cardio. I literally go to the gym, just do like a few sets of lat pull down, some lateral raises. I don't do any cardio. So this proves that like you don't even have to do cardio to have good blood markers. The BUN and creatinine you can completely ignore if you are going to the gym, and just look at cystatin C, very important marker. The higher the better. And then you should look at gamma GT. You can ignore AST, ALT. And regarding the other things, you should definitely look at estrogen, but the sensitive one. So don't get the ECLIA, get the LCMS test for estrogen. So that's regarding estrogen. Then you have the testosterone, SHBG, whatever, and the blood pressure. So is there anything missing here? Yes. So I did not test prolactin because I slept 2 hours and it would be a false high, so I just didn't want to bother with that. And I did not test CRP, C-reactive protein, to test my inflammation because of 2 reasons. One reason is because I slept 2 hours, so it would be elevated. I can feel when I don't sleep that the inflammation is elevated. I look at my skin looks older, it looks more fucked up. So there is no reason to test CRP and prolactin if you slept 2 hours. It would just be elevated for sure, which shows how important sleep is. Like that's really shows, like I sleep 8 hours a day on average now, even on TREN. It's hard because I wake up a lot of times, but still it's so important to sleep a lot, because if you don't, those things will be completely fucked up. And also if you don't sleep enough long term, some of the other blood markers will be destroyed too. So if you are chronically sleep deprived, your blood sugar will also be higher, and your triglycerides could also be higher, because generally your insulin resist, you start building up insulin resistance. You are less insulin sensitive if you are sleep deprived chronically. So those are some of the things. Am I missing anything else? Probably not. I think those are the most important things. So we are just missing CRP and prolactin here in the second test, but I will test that next time in a few months when when I get better sleep. But I think my prolactin should be lower because I'm taking a high dose of P5P to lower my prolactin, 200 milligrams a day. And I'm guessing that could lower prolactin, according to research, by let's say 20 to 30%. TREN can increase prolactin, but I'm taking a microdose. So what am I taking right now? 350 milligrams of testosterone and 70 to 100 milligrams of TREN per week. So that's the situation. So I started with 270 milligrams of testosterone in January after doing this first blood test. And I kept that for 4 months, I think. And for the past 2 months, I've been taking 350 milligrams of testosterone. And for the last maybe 5 weeks, for the last 5 weeks today on Tuesday, for the last 5 weeks, I've been taking TREN, 10 milligrams a day. Honestly, I've been probably taking 15 or 20 some days. So because it's such a small amount in the needle that it's very easy to just like have too much or too little, but I try to have too much rather than too little. So most likely this was not 70 milligrams a week. It was more likely 100 or maybe 115 or something. So this blood work here, the after is 6 months of testosterone. On average, you can round it up to 300 to 320 milligrams a week if you average out the 270 and 350, and about 100 milligrams a week of TREN, which is the most toxic steroid that you can take. And I'm just proving here that you can keep your health 100% in check. The only disclaimer here that I mentioned before is TREN is neurotoxic, and you can't measure that on blood work. So if I get more stupid, you can't really measure that through getting blood work. You could probably do some brain scans or something, but that's probably very expensive. So the things that I've been doing to mitigate that, I will tell you in the next video where I go through my complete supplement stack, and I will show you exactly what am I taking to mitigate that and to not get more stupid on TREN. But some of the mechanisms are not fully understood because TREN was never really human approved. It was approved for humans in France, like in the 1970s or something, but that was for a short period of time. So there is not really any research on people, and we don't really know what it does like in the brain. Like there is some research on rats that shows how TREN can kill the cells in the hippocampus, which is for memory, and it can also like fry your brain through some calcium signaling, whatever. And you could counter this with different medications, but this is a topic for a different video. So this was just comparing my blood work natural versus on steroids, and as you can see, my blood work improved. So my cholesterol improved, my blood pressure improved drastically, my triglycerides improved, my hormones improved obviously, my physique improved, my happiness improved, everything improved except sleep. So sleep got worse, everything else improved. So as you can see, I avoided most of the side. As you can see, like I look normal. I'm not having any kind of like acne or anything. The physique is pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the current situation. Like I'm pretty lean. Not sure how lean, but like I can see definitely a lot of definition in my shoulders and my chest. So I would be guessing that I'm almost getting close to 10% body fat. Maybe it's 11 or 12. And I'm very happy with that. I'm very, very happy with the physique progress, but those will be topics for a different video. If you have any questions regarding something you didn't understand in this blood work, something that I maybe forgot to explain, we can discuss that in the comments or just DM me on Instagram. And also, I will be giving you all this free value for free. Like I will be explaining everything for free, my full supplement stack, my full blood work, everything I will be explaining for free. But the thing I will charge for is if you want me to make you a protocol, because you shouldn't just like copy something, because I mean, you can copy this, whatever, but not medical advice. I'm not a doctor, so don't do anything that I did here, because it could end completely differently for you, depending on genetics. But that's the only thing I will be charging for, is if someone wants me to help them break down their blood work, help them understand it better, and help them make a protocol and plan for themselves. So, but everything else will be completely free, and you can take this information and use it to make your own superhuman protocol. So that's pretty much it for this video. In the next videos, we'll be going over my full supplement stack, my training plan, my diet plan, my transformation, how much muscle did I actually get, is it worth it, the other stuff, how do I feel day to day, stuff like that. So see you in the next video, guys.